Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Punishing Grey Raven reaction. Today we have Stellarira. As I said last video, I was going to be getting to this one because I was curious about what it was going to be like with I Haloweak on it, as well as somebody I don't really recognize by name, May. I might have heard something from them before, but it's not ringing a bell, so maybe not. This might be a whole new experience for me. Also, since last video, I got a MIDI keyboard so I can actually play stuff and explain some chords and maybe some theory stuff a little bit more directly compared to what I used to be able to do. So depending on if this song actually hits that part of my creative brain, we might see some of that. So I guess without further ado, let's go. Already starting out with the really cool visuals. I've said it before, but I love how PGR handles their visuals for these. There's so much effort put into music visuals. It's just, I respect it so much. Ooh. Got some heavy atmosphere working. All right. I love those slides going on. There's like screeches. Ooh, that one had a little bit of a synth in that eye. Eye? Ears. This is a lot more atmospheric than I thought it was going to be. This is different. I'm used to like more melodic character themes. They might have something in there though. Ooh. Oh. Oh man, I love that bass. It's got so much texture to it. It's kind of a mysterious arc happening there. Whoop. Transition. Woo. I love how much that synth is just dancing around. Some great risers too. So the amount of reverb they're giving all that synth up there. A lot of room above the head. Oh, it's a real transition. Ooh. A bit of synth wave line there on that part. Ooh, went up that time. It's a really crisp pluck. I really like the sound of that plucking that synth on the top. The synth design, as always with stuff from Vanguard, is insanely clean. I don't know if they've just got a really, really good, like, post-producer, like, that handles all of that, but... got some language? It sounds like talking. Very distorted, though. It's kind of hard to tell if they're saying anything, let alone in English, so... adds to that atmosphere, though. Now we're kind of back to this area where everything was a little bit more moody. I'm usually not a huge fan of the, like, over-synthetic, like, trumpet sound, but it works really well in that spot. I think that's because of the, that synth wave feel it's given off. All right, so I went ahead and got nerdy. I looked back at some spots, and I want to talk about a little bit of this on the keyboard as well. There'll be a visual that'll pop up on screen when I get to playing it. But basically, there's a lot that I didn't expect with this song, especially the beginning, starting so atmospheric, and everything was just darker, and there wasn't any, like, lyrics or anything, which has happened many a time in the PGR scene for music. It's just themes. They come with a character, and they don't really have a story so much, at least lyrically, so they need to portray that without putting lyrics in there, and that can be pretty difficult. But starting it so atmospherically puts you immediately into this headspace of this is somebody with a latent ability, latent power. Maybe there's a reason that they're locked away, because that atmosphere makes you feel like somebody is trapped. There is a fear happening. There is a lack of freedom in general. You're stuck in a placement, and obviously the visual definitely helps with that. But there were even some synths in there that were actually supporting that. Like, there was this bubbling kind of synth when it started with that bass that I really liked. The very beginning of that had a lot of this, like, room underneath it. It had, like, air, like it was being kind of convulsed, you know, like there was churning happening in this synth before it finally settled where it was in this nice fat bass that I really enjoyed. This song did a really good job taking that initial atmosphere and evolving it into the next section of music, and it kept doing that. Like, every single section is very clear, and you can see the image of what's happening in your head if you're listening close enough. It's almost this, like, 80s inspired synth wavy kind of sci-fi movie sound. It's like you're in this tanker, you're in a space station of some sort, you're the only one, or you're trying to get out, there's a reason. And then there was the anger that kind of came with being stuck there in that second part as that synth came in to create that bass. And then there was that really, like, high plucky, almost like a string instrument synth on top of it all that was arping up and down, just constantly going on various runs of the chords here. And this, for the record, is almost entirely, I think, in the key of E flat. I might be wrong. Sometimes people shift between the relatives as they need. And after the image changed, it had that bit of a synthwave lead to it that I was talking about. And that was playing a really simple, very triumphant, but almost melancholic, a little bit sad. Like, there's a bittersweetness to the character coming out of whatever situation they were in. They're free now, but at what cost almost? But it was this passage of... and that's just, God, it just locks in. It's so poignant. It brings you down to pull you back up. Like, that's where that bittersweet flow is coming from. It takes you down the scale to bring you back up the scale. And just for the record, you can hear that. That's the key of E flat. So you get this entire flow happening around there, and it utilizes that synth again a little bit later in the song. But the second time, a lot more of a full lifted, fully actualized and realized message that came with it. There was so much more triumphant energy to that latter portion compared to the first bit where it was just the lone trumpet synth, just, you know, speaking its mind, like, here we are, this is where we're at. how did we get here? Where do we go? And that's a beautiful, beautiful narrative piece to utilize with music, is taking a solo instrument that's something that has a little bit of that sadness to it, like a trumpet, and using that to tell the story, to really get the emotions flowing and get the listener to understand what's happening in the context. It's just so beautiful. And then it backed out later to put her back into that like bubbling cell, and I'm not sure why. It might just be a we're here now, don't forget where we started thing, or it could be that this character was utilized for a purpose out on the surface and then shoved back into storage, so to speak. It's kind of hard to tell. I don't know if she was jailed or if she was created. I could see her being like an artificial being and having that sort of relationship where she's stored until needed, or she was created and she has to understand the world she lives in, learn about it, and at some point gets transferred back to that. It could have just been a simple visual change in order to bring that sound back down when the song did. But those are the reasons I love this song. It's such a beautiful piece, and I love how the song evolves from the start to the finish and then almost returns to the beginning at the end. And that's just such a poignant little bit of narrative. I love it. But yeah, I think that's about all I gotta say for this one. So thank you all so very much for watching. If you have any other songs you want me to listen to, I've seen some in the comments, so if nothing like really stands out in the comments section of this video, I'll probably do one of those. But leave a comment down below if you want me to get to something specific, and I will make sure to do so. Otherwise, if you just like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more, you know how to do all that, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye!